vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Dati Baba Ahmed, is declared intention to be Nigeria's president in the coming elections. And the contest, the politicking, begins in a year that will shape Nigeria's next round of leadership, as Nigeria's politicians are now coming together to form an opposition against the ruling APC. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. Happy New Year to you. It's good to be back on the chair. Thanks so much, Geoffrey, my colleague who has been holding forward while being away. Thank you so much indeed, everyone. It's time for us to get together and have a conversation about our nation, its politics, policies, and governance. So let me begin tonight by letting you know what happened. It does look like we're having clarity about those who have intentions and ambitions to want to run the affairs of this country, one of which he is the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed, who says he will not leave the Labour Party alongside the party's presidential candidate in the election, Mr. Peter Obi, who he deputized in the election and recently joined the African Democratic Congress, ADC, jumping away from the Labour Party. Mr. Baba Ahmed was speaking today at the Labour Party diaspora event led by the national chairman of the Labour Party, Mr. Julius Abure, at the party's national secretariat in Abuja. He also revealed that he's also making himself available to fix Nigeria come 2027. He explains that he is not convinced by the ADC, who he says disgruntled politicians. Take a listen to him.
I have not left Labour Party because I am not satisfied with a coalition of disgruntled politicians who could not even challenge 2023 constitutional breaches. I will not leave Labour Party because of the promise it holds. I therefore remain a loyal Labour Party member, and I make myself available to fix Nigeria. Nigerians know the truth. Nigerians, we know the truth. Nigerians, please use the truth.
Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed now makes things a bit more complicated, isn't it? Because we thought that himself and Peter Obi are Siamese twins, but it's established that staying back in the Labour Party. A lot of activities. Let me tell you that 2026, it's going to be the year where everything that you think about 2027 is going to be laid, buried, and determined. Well, I'm going to be giving you insight into all what that means. I'm going to be showing you a map much later on the program, which will give you an inkling about what the politics of 2027 will be about. But before we get into all of that, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, is seeking the review of the new tax law, insisting that it excluded workers' inputs and places additional financial burden on the Nigerian worker. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Mr. Joe Ajaero, made the call at a gathering of Labour leaders in Abuja to honor the founding president of the NLC. Meanwhile, both the former United Nations Special Representative for West Africa and the Catholic Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Hassan Kuka, underscored the need for workers to organize and demand for the welfare of workers. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted the former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami and two others bail in the sum of 500 million naira with two sureties. The sureties, according to the judge, must have landed property in Asokoro, Maitama, and Gwarimpa. He added that they must submit their traveling documents to the court. Meanwhile, Malami has been ordered to be remanded in Kuje prison pending his perfection of the bail conditions. The African Democratic Congress is planning to issue state-specific security features membership cards to members of the party. National Chairman of the party, Mr. David Mark, stated this during the inauguration of its Membership, Revalidation, Mobilization and Registration Committee at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. The exercise marks the official launch of the party's nationwide registration of new members as part of efforts to strengthen structures and expand its base. Mr. Mark, who is a former president of the Senate, explains that the card is part of efforts to ensure integrity, fairness and inclusiveness in its membership drive. The 20-member committee is chaired by Kashim Imam, with social critic Aisha Yusufu as the deputy chairman of the committee. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the November 5, 2025 governorship election in Anambra State, Mr. George Moghalu, is asking politicians who are defecting from the platform under which they were elected to resign their position and test their popularity in a by-election. Addressing a news conference in Abuja on the state of the nation, Mr. Moghalu explains that it is morally wrong for politicians to defect without first resigning from their position, as he says that the electorate vote for political parties and not individuals. In Ebonyi State, following the release of a timetable and electoral guidelines by the State Independent Electoral Commission for local government elections scheduled for August this year, the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress has announced Thursday, January 8th, 2026, for the commencement of the sale of nomination and expression of interest forms to aspirants contesting for the chairmanship seats and various councillorship wards across the state. The state party chairman, Mr. Stanley Emega, disclosed this at the party secretariat in Abakaliki, the state capital. To Adamawa State, where a coalition of the All Progressives Congress Grassroots Awareness Forum, known as the Mnamdu Foundation, has cautioned politicians aspiring for positions under the ticket of the APC ahead of the 2027 elections against defaming the party. Addressing journalists at a media briefing in Yola, spokesperson of the APC Awareness Forum, Anas Bala, dispelled rumors of the National Security Advisor, Mr. Ribadu, endorsing any aspirant as the party's governorship candidate, and urges politicians aspiring to contest to work on the strength of their individual merit rather than relying on Mr. Ribadu.
Thank you so much, everyone. And there you have it, your political roundup stories. Tonight on the program, we turn the spotlight on governance, opposition politics, and power dynamics at the heart of Nigeria's democracy. Tonight, we will be speaking with one, perhaps, who is a lone voice representing the Federal Capital Territory in the National Assembly, in the Senate. A senator, a lawmaker who has been vocal on governance under President Bola Tinubu and the role of opposition in the democracy and the administration of the FCT. There is a lot of thinking, the perception that ourselves and the minister of the FCT have a political feud. Well, recently, some of this conversation came onto the front burner. And Senator Ireti Kingibe, who recently defected from the Labour Party to the African Democratic Congress, a move that has reignited debate about ideology, political alignment, and opposition strategies. Seems to be a loggerhead on so many governance issues with a man with the helm of affairs in the FCT, in the face of one chance in the FCT, issues of security, issues of welfare of the people of the FCT. She's going to be speaking with us tonight on the program, at the center of the political tension in the capital, particularly over questions of authority, accountability, and the leadership style of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who is being in Rivers State on a political tour of the state. Senator Ireti Kingibe joins us tonight on the program. Thank you so much, Senator, and Happy New Year. Thank you for coming tonight on the program.
Shem, Happy New Year. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. I see your letter to Minister Nyesom Wike, and you started by acknowledging what Minister Wike said publicly, where he has said, yourself and himself have no fight. But, I mean, well, that's usually what we hear from you politicians, isn't it? Because you said nothing is going on, but yeah, we do know that a lot is going on. We've literally seen both of you against each other at different public fora. But now that you have established that no political view, but you've disagreed with him about how things are going in the FCT. And on the other hand, you have also acknowledged and thanking him for the governance of the FCT. You seem to be confusing a lot of people. What is your perception of Minister Wike? Is he a good minister or a bad one? Is he a good governor or a bad one? What are your views about him?
My street, Kunene Close, informing us that he was going to be rehabilitating our streets. I responded on behalf of the residents of my street and the community and myself, thanking him for rehabilitating the road that has not, in fact, 2 years ago, they did all the other surrounding roads, but mine wasn't done, or ours wasn't done. So I thanked him for doing it. I thought that's just courtesy, and anytime anybody does anything commendable, I will commend them. That was what that letter was about. So I was surprised when I heard about it, and it wasn't made out as if it was specifically for repairing our roads. The minister does some good things, but he also does not follow the rule of law lots of times. It is my job to draw his attention. It is my job to oversight certain things. It is not personal. So it's not about whether he's good or bad. It's not good or bad or black or white. I would prefer for the minister to obey the rule of law a bit more. It's going on 3 years since the minister was elected. All previous ministers sit with the elected members of FCT monthly and discuss the requirements and the needs of the people. I have certainly never sat with the minister because there's been no forum for that. So all these things impact on the people of the FCT. But all that notwithstanding, Minister Wike says this is a new year, so we're hoping that there'll be renewed cooperation between us. Maybe he's come to see that the lack of synergy is not in the best interest of the people of the Federal Capital Territory. Of course, he builds good roads, but that's not the only thing. I have issues with waste management. I have issues with security. And all these things are not meant to be criticisms. They're just meant to strengthen governance by drawing his attention to lapses. And that's why I do that. But so far, it's been taken as we're at loggerheads, or he takes it as personal criticism. It's not. If there are certain things the minister feels I should do, he draws my attention, I will do them. As a legislator, there are some things I have a lot of historical memory of FCT, and I can tell him things he should know. Senator, I'm listening to you, Sheila.
You have openly criticized him and said, look, the FCT governance is not about building roads alone. Health is there, human capital development, education. You brought out cases of state of education in the FCT openly to the attention of the FCT minister. But in all of it, and you also have spoken about waste management, in all of this, 2026 is here. And you are saying that, yeah, he said there is a new year. But from your own perspective, if there is one important thing that the minister needs to pay attention to, although I'm not sure he's back in town, that those who are criticizing, those who are on your side who says the minister should be at home right here in the FCT where he's made to govern, to steer the affairs of the FCT. But from your own perspective, if there's something that you think that the minister should be paying attention to urgently in the FCT.
Well, I'm sure you're going to call me Oliver Twist. There are several things. To begin with, waste management has gotten to urgent proportions. They're all over the place. They're not clearing the waste. whatever the problem is, the minister is in the best position to know how to deal with it, because he's the one who's directly in charge. That has gotten to very, very, very critical proportions. That's number one. Number two, certain things like flood channels are being built on. A lot of potential environmental issues are brewing. As I've said many times, the green areas are meant to be access points for services of the Federal Capital Territory. All the water for FCT, electricity, sewage, everything is under the ground. That's how the city was designed. And as long as those green areas are built on, then nobody can have access to these services. That's also a potential problem that is brewing that could get completely out of hand. But I have issues with health. The hospitals are empty. There's nothing. I can go with you to several hospitals in the FCT. You'll see that more than Panadol you cannot get. All these are issues that affect the well-being of the citizens. So it's difficult for me to say just solve one when they are all pending.
So now, let's look at it. The minister had thought that, and some way, tacitly threatened your seat, because he said that the FCT local council election, and in fact, the election into the senatorial seat of the FCT, that there is a possibility that you might not return. It's politically come after you to say, look, you're not guaranteed that things will change. Are you threatening? And your defection recently has shown that maybe you're not confident enough about the party that brought you into the Senate chair of the FCT. Do you see Minister Wike as a threat to you politically in the FCT?
Absolutely not. Let us first say, let's talk about it. A Labour Party is in two factions, as you know, right now. Abure faction and the Danadi faction. So what do you expect Senator Kingibe or any other and half of almost everybody in Labour Party to do? Of course, certain people who are not holding political offices can say, oh, I remain in the Labour Party. But if you're holding a political office or you plan on running, under which faction are you running? As the local council elections, Labour Party is not fielded. So obviously, it's not a viable platform for seeking election as of today. That's number one. So constitutionally, it allows every elected member to look for another platform if your original platform, your party is factionalized. That's number one, because I do firmly believe that those who defect without meeting the constitutional requirement should lose their seats. But in our case, it doesn't apply, because ours is exactly what the Constitution was talking about. Now, let's now talk about my seat. The truth of the matter is that from Obasanjo to now, hardly anybody controls how the people of the FCT vote. Minister Wike cannot make me win, neither can he make me lose, just like he cannot impose anybody on the FCT. FCT is not structured that way. So I'm absolutely not threatened by him. I moved to ADC because that's where all of us who are intending to seek re-election into 2027 from the Labour Party decided to move to. Even those who are looking for area council elections, that's from the Labour Party, most of us, I asked them to go there. So to run, you have to have a platform. And ADC is the viable alternative to Labour Party if you're in opposition. That's what it is all about. It's not about Minister Wike. Minister Wike should first of all, and let's see what happens in local government election before he talks about 2027. And I do believe that come 2027, I don't think FCT will be his priority. He'll have other things to do instead of worrying about who returns in the FCT or not.
So, Senator, you don't think about those. For example, today, Nyesom Wike, who was a Labour Party governorship candidate in Anambra, said that those who are moving from one party to the other are morally bereft, that they committed political immorality. You don't see yourself as one that is committing such a crime, knowing full well that you got the advantage of the Labour Party and what they call the obedient movement, which got you into office. And those who say, well, that flame may have died down. Do you think, honestly speaking, Senator, that the ADC is formidable enough? And this is going to be a determining year, 2026. Do you think that the people of the FCT, the Labour Party followers and supporters who gave you that opportunity, will ever forgive you for jumping ship?
Which ship did I jump? As I've told you, there are two Labour Party ships. So
that those who will think, Senator, that you are probably going to be a leader to stay put and fix the problem rather than the sound of the emergency whistle, you went for the door, you went for the exit. And those who say, why don't you sit and fix it?
I was first to start off with, Labour Party factionalized in February. Abure faction suspended me and we suspended him in February. I took a ticket in December, so you cannot say it as the sound of a whistle. I gave a lot of time to see if we could mend the problem. But obviously, as you can see, it's not fixable. We still have two factions of Labour Party. It still exists.
Yeah. So
Nanabi faction and Abure faction.
In the scheme of things, do you have any assurance about the chances, the fate of ADC in the coming election? Do you think it's formidable enough?
Oh, yes. Look, I can tell, I may not be an expert in other constituents, but in the Federal Capital Territory, I can tell you that ADC is the party to beat. ADC is the party to beat. We may not win all the local governments, but we're going to win most of them. Because I'm a realist, I can tell you the places where we're strong. But the party to beat is not APC. We built APC in the FCT. FCT has never been APC country. You know it, I know it. You tell me the elections that opposition does not win. FCT is FCT. And I definitely know that in the local government elections, ADC will do very well in the FCT. It will also do very well in 2027.
Senator, are you more of a Peter Obi fan, follower to the ADC? Are you one of those who think Peter Obi is the man to give the mantle if ADC were to amount to anything in the coming election against a very formidable APC and Bola Tinubu in that party?
Excuse me, I didn't get the question.
So I'm asking you, are you of because there are different people from different blocks that have come into the ADC. One of those are the people from the PDP who left the PDP because of the crisis. One of those are those who came and to support the Peter Obi, who think that Peter Obi is the man to support and the man that can actually take the fights to the APC. And I'll show you a map just in a moment that shows that APC is highly formidable across the country. And Bola Tinubu, that they say that he has never lost any election. Are you the Peter Obi fan who thinks that Peter Obi or nothing?
No. I mean, I'm a nationalist. The truth is that Peter Obi may be the candidate of the ADC in 2027. He may not be. I joined the ADC as an opposition party to support the party, and whoever the candidate is. If it's Peter Obi, all well and good, we will go out and work for him. And if it's not, whoever it is, we will work for the person too. Now, if, as you say, the country chooses to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then so be it. Then he'll be the president, just like he was in 2023. But my politics have started in opposition. I've always believed in opposition. I don't think that a one-party state is the best thing for our democracy. You cannot play excellent and exciting football with one team. You need at least two, or at least two teams to play. So I'm not, as you say, if you predict that Bola Tinubu will win, then 2027, let's see what happens. But I'm in opposition.
But look at this map, Senator. And it does look very gloomy for opposition politics in Nigeria, Senator. Look at the map. It's a political map and the control of the state by political parties in Nigeria as of today. And it's mostly in light blue, representing the color of the APC. And you look at it, a sprinkle of opposition here and there, PDP holding the most of all the opposition states in Nigeria, Bauchi, Oyo, Adamawa, and you see, for example, Labour Party in Abia State, APGA in Anambra State, Osun State has Accord Party, and NNPP in Kano State. That is still very looking like it's going to turn blue. Those who say, look, these pose a very gloomy picture of what the opposition represent presently today. Are you taking a risk for those who say this is a risk too far, and perhaps the prediction of your very good friend Nyesom Wike that Senator Ireti Kingibe, forget it, you're now returning to the FCT as a senator?
I'm sorry to say, Senator Nyesom Wike has no say in whether Ireti Kingibe returns to the Senate or not. Certainly not in the Federal Capital Territory. Maybe if I was running somewhere else, perhaps. But in FCT, he has no say. And then the other thing I want to ask you, Shehu, you have determined that the states are, by just the governors, the leaders of the states, right? What about the people? Don't you think the people have an opinion? Don't you think they count? I'm sorry. When Goodluck lost in 2015, he had so many governors. He still lost because the people voted not in the manner that their leaders wanted. And I think that if it's also not a big deal, if the Nigerian people are comfortable with the way the country is now, they're happy with it, and they want it to continue this way, then there's no issue. But the leaders do not determine how the people are going to vote, not always. And I think it's a grave mistake on your part to think that just because a governor is APC, that makes the people
thinking, Senator. But I mean, political pundits agree with a few factors, things like history, patterns. They are very critical in determining what a political future could be. But I'm just reading it as a political science student right here. But give me a moment, Senator Ireti Kingibe. I'd like to find out from you what the state of the nation is. Whether or not, under the Bola Tinubu administration, the nation is moving forward. Well, you are opposition. I probably can predict that you think that the nation is not doing well under this government. But next on our conversation with Senator Ireti Kingibe is whether or not the state of the nation, as a political tension brew, is in the right direction or not. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing the Federal Capital Territory in the Senate, has been speaking with us on the program tonight. Thank you so much, Senator, for your time. let me take you up quickly on the state of the nation as we have it today. It's a new year, just about 7 days into the new year. And a lot of Nigerians are expectant of great and good things to come. However, 2026 is going to be a very dynamic, very interesting, fast-moving, and it's going to be a very interesting year, politically speaking. A lot of things will happen. Perhaps if you thought that 2025 was interesting, wait for 2026 to start emerging. But, Senator, nearly over 2 years, nearly 3 years into the President Bola Tinubu's administration, how would you honestly assess the state of the nation today?
Well, truthfully, Nigerians are not doing very well. That's the truth. I'm not sure why, because things like removal of subsidy and a lot of the policies ab initio are good, but they're not impacting positively on the people. People are suffering. It could be a problem of implementation. I'm not sure what, but as a nation, we haven't been doing very well. We're not doing well economically. We're not doing well security. There's so many levels in which we have not prospered as we expected to. When a lot of these policies were put in place, I at least expected that we would have some difficult times, but there would be light at the end of the tunnel. There may still be, but I just don't see the light, and neither do most Nigerians. For one thing, I think we could do with a lot less taxes. The people we're not prosperous enough to, look at the transactions. Apart from all the ones that the banks put on you, there's now an additional stamp duty. It's not as if it replaced any of the other ones. So truthfully, I think that the president needs to review how some of all these policies are impacting on the people. It's not been positive. People are suffering. They're hungry. Insecurity has made it not possible for food security. So a lot is not right, and that needs to be looked into. As I said, I believe that governance is a collective. Once you have been elected, your party ceases to matter. It is all about governance, and there should be synergy between all of us, the executive, the legislative, and judiciary, just like there should be between the minister and the elected members, regardless of party. We are not doing well. We need to look at how to improve 2026.
But the supporters of this government, and perhaps when those who work for this government come to the National Assembly to present to you proposals on how to run this government, the financials, the policies, the governance ideas of this government, their intentions and what the message they often come up with is, and the argument is that the current hardship is a necessity or a necessary phase in the reform process that this government, led by Bola Tinubu, is undertaking. From your own vantage point in the Senate, what evidence do you see that these sacrifices will pay off? And perhaps are we probably nearing the end to what has become a more challenging time for Nigerians in the last 3 years or so?
I don't know if we are nearing the end. The truth is that, yes, there's bound to be some pains, but I think that there's certain things can be put in place to alleviate the discomfort to the people. That's the way I see it. And I don't see what are the indicators that we're at the end, we're nearing the end of the difficulties. You told me the indicators. I haven't seen them. Maybe they're coming, maybe we need a longer period, but right now, 2026 will not be the point where we start reaping the benefits of the reforms. And also think that certain things are circumvented in the policies, excuse me. Let me give you a simple example. Why should POSs work better than bank ATMs? Why? Because there is a private benefit to certain people at the POSs, which they will not get from the banks. So a lot of systems are circumvented. That's the truth.
Why is this so?
And that's what's making it more difficult.
Why is this so? What does your mind tell you? What do you think is really going on with the government?
The government needs to be firmer. There needs to be consequences to things. There's no consequence for anything. Okay, so what's happening to the banks? The money that goes to the POSs, the POS don't make the money. It comes from the main banks. What's the penalty? Nothing. And that applies across board to so many things. And that's why a lot of the policies are not working the way they're supposed to work. I'll give you another example that I stumbled upon. Identity cards. You say everybody must have one, and they will. But do you know, when you actually go to get it, the actual cards are no longer to be given to you. They're not given to you by NIMSI. They've somehow entered the hands of private people who are going to charge for it. NIMSI cannot charge for it because government has appropriated for it. Now, what's being done about that? What's the penalty for that? So a lot of the policies, yes, the president may mean well, but the policies will not work as long as they will always be circumvented. And that's
but do you think that, for example,
and they do so.
Do you think, for example, that this government means well?
Do I think the government means well?
Yes. The government has led and headed by President Bola Tinubu. Do you think that there are good intentions or things that are probably not just working because of some other reason? Do you think their intentions are right?
Yes, I think so, because some of the policies are very good. So if the policies are good, then implementation must be the problem.
Speak to us about
the tax. Must be the problem.
Yeah, speak to us about the new tax regime we have entered into this year. What is your take? I mean, we heard what Mr. Joe Ajaero, the NLC president, said about the review or the rethinking about the implementation. What do you make of it? Is it a necessary tough decisions to take, or the route that will get Nigeria to get accustomed to doing the right thing? Or what exactly do you make of the whole scenario with respect to the new tax regime?
One, there should be tax reforms, I agree. But I must say, when I heard, because I had been away for a couple of weeks, I've been a bit unwell, about this regazetting and what was passed being different, I think we need to look at it. We need to know that what we passed is what is being implemented. That's number one. Number two, some of the tax reforms, we can pass those laws. They all do not have to come into effect immediately. The country is not in a state for all the reforms to be immediately effective. Look at the aviation industry. Even without this new tax reforms, there were already at least 17 taxes. We have some of the highest aviation taxes. So it's not all the reforms that we need to start implementing right away. The people cannot afford it. Now, take a woman who's selling pepper. And she's supposed to say how much is for, or maybe she's frying akara, how much is for the oil, how much is for the beans, how much is for that. some of the infrastructure for the way we want to tax the people, we don't have them in place. That's number one. Another thing I think the government needs to do, high-speed internet is also infrastructure. It would go a long way to assisting some of these policies. It would also go a long way to getting young people to do what young people do, which is they can do their AI and all those things on the side. But it's difficult to do much when even common email, we're all struggling to open. So there are certain things we need to look into. Yes, I will say that the government does mean well for certain policies. I won't say all. I'm not going to attribute bad will to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but a lot of the implementation is wrong.
Give us an understanding of what could be an option for Nigerians. There will be a political decision to be made for them to lay their destinies in the hands of a political leadership to steer their lives in the manner in which such leadership decides or make up in their minds. What options do you think are there for Nigerians? Are you thinking about what you probably think is going to be best for Nigerians in the next political dispensation? What do you make of it? Do we have better option where you are seated on this side of the divide? What exactly are the options left for Nigerians?
Well, I would like to think that things have to improve in 2027, but as you say, our history has not shown so. In my opinion, things have been getting progressively worse. So to say that it's going to just automatically get better, I also believe that we need to have well, the word I'm looking for is not a restructuring. We need to sit down and look at our terms of engagement. We need to look at the state of the country going forward. Just continuing in the same old way is not part of the failures of leadership also. It's not just the leaders. Yes, to some extent, a lot of it is the leaders, but also to our structure. We need to maybe tinker with it a little bit more. Maybe we need to look at, instead of everybody waiting around for money to be distributed to the states, maybe each state should go and generate revenue, give a certain amount to the center, and then each state will then be a viable unit by itself, and what cannot work by itself should merge with other states. We need to look at some other options. As things are now, it's not working. And not working, as the Ghanaian was saying one day, when Nigeria sneezes, the whole of Africa catches a cold. We need to look at our structure of the way we are structured as a nation. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Let's take another minute, but when we return, I'd like to ask you a very critical question. In some ways, there are those who will think that this is going to be a big deal in 2026, and how you answer it is going to also determine a whole lot of things. We'll be right back after this break to conclude our conversation with Senator Ireti Kingibe. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Senator Ireti Kingibe has been speaking with us. She is representing the Federal Capital Territory in the Senate. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us. I'm concerned about the state of the opposition, the play in opposition politics in Nigeria. And perhaps I may not be a total fan of those who argue that Nigeria is turning into a one-party state, because we still have multi-party system in Nigeria. But what we are having is an erosion of an intense political party politics in Nigeria, which is far from what we have always said. We've had four major political parties. We have 3 major political parties in Nigeria. And it does look to me that opposition has literally just gone into a sleeping mode. But what do you think could be a way forward for Nigerians who think that their voices are lost? Opposition voice is also lost. It does look like a hopeless situation for those who think that we should be having a very strong opposition to whatever is going on in the ruling party or in government.
I can't hear him anymore.
Senator, you hear me now?
Can't hear him anymore. Sorry, I lost you for a minute.
But can you hear me now?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Great. I'm worried about the state of play as far as political party politics is concerned in Nigeria. And that those who are afraid and thinking that their voices are being put to the front burner by opposition voices. But it does look like there is an erosion of political opposition position in Nigeria. And the thinking is that for some reason, opposition element and figures in Nigeria have just literally gone to sleep. What exactly is going wrong? And those of you who are in the opposition, you are to blame for those who have relied on your voices to keep the government of the day on their toes. But it does look like most of the political party persons or politicians are going in one direction. What exactly is going on in our country today, Senator?
Well, Sean, I don't know. You cannot add me to the quiet ones. I do try to speak up, but I will agree with you. Opposition needs to be more vocal. But I also believe that there is a revival, or is going to be a revival of opposition in the country. There has to be, because the people are becoming more pushy. And if that doesn't happen, if we don't have people who speak for the people, then the people will have to speak for themselves. They will be the opposition. And I don't think that's a very good thing. At the end of the day, it's harder to manage. Any opposition with no leaders is not, is chaotic, let's put it that way. The other thing that I also find is that our democracy has not evolved to the point where it allows or even respects opposition. Even in the National Assembly, where we are brothers and sisters and we have a lot of camaraderie, it's a lot of effort for opposition senators to speak. So unless we are on political platform and all the other places like that, our voices and our opinions cannot really be fully heard. So as I come back to the fact that our structure isn't working. Maybe we need to go back to parliamentary system. I don't know what we need, but we do need something. We need a major, major change.
Senator, you said earlier that Senate Committee on the Air has not met in months. Why is this the case?
Well, I guess the chairman has not seen fit to put that there's anything happening in the FCC. The truth of the matter is that committee has been mostly comatose. I don't know why. And I think the 2 or 3 years that I've going on 3 years that I've been a senator, maybe that committee may have met maybe a total of 4 times, if that much. So it's not, I can't really tell you what the problem is. But considering that the National Assembly is the state assembly of the Federal Capital Territory, it's supposed to be a very vibrant committee. And the National Assembly is supposed to oversight everything that's happening in the FCT, that's not really happening. So FCT is not thriving, and it slowly regressed from 1999 to now.
But is it possible in writing letters to the FCT minister and maybe meeting at the conference room in the National Assembly? There are hopes that maybe you, as a senator representing the FCT, will be having a sit down, whether in your office or in the FCT minister's house or his office anytime soon. There are hopes of such, to discuss matter of urgency and importance as it pertains to the residents and the people of the FCT. Is that going to happen maybe when the minister comes back from Rivers State?
I'm hoping that in this 2026, that is the way forward between the minister and those of us who are elected. Because if we can do that, then a lot of things can be ironed out. That's number one. Number two, I've also taken to writing letters to the president about the FCT. After all, this is the capital, is the seat of his government. A lot of things that are going wrong, I feel he should be aware as well, because he appointed the minister and also must have a certain amount of influence on him. So that's there. I am looking, as I said in my letter to the minister, I'm looking forward to renewed cooperation between his office and mine in the interest of the people of the Federal Capital Territory. And I'm hoping that he will come back from Port Harcourt in that spirit. I'm in the spirit to work with him. I've always been, because it is about governance. Nothing about any of the things I've said about him or what needs to be done in the FCT has been personal.
All right.
It's all been in the interest of the people of the Federal Capital
We just got 60 seconds to close the program, Senator. But you seem to have inferred that it looks like a dereliction of duty for the minister to be away when work has resumed on the 5th, away from his duty right here in Abuja. Is that what exactly you mean? And perhaps I'll also maybe in one breath also talk about your fear about the local council elections from next month that should happen next month. Are you worried that that election might be keenly contested, and the present sitting and the way things are going in the FCT politically might not be the way it will be after that election? Just in 60 seconds so that we can close.
Not at all. First of all, I don't think the minister, I did not imply that he was derelict in his duties. Ministers, just like senators, are free to come and go as they see fit. So if he must have urgent reasons why he's not here, and so I did not imply that. But as for the local government elections, I assure you that APC is the party to worry about the local government elections, not the opposition. Does not mean that other opposition parties may not win certain local governments, but I assure you that ADC will win the prizes. At least 3-4 local governments ADC will win. So how that impacts, opposition has always won here, so it does not really change FCT that much, because we've always had opposition winners here anyway.
Senator Ireti Kingibe, representing Federal Capital Territory in the Senate, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
And thank you for having me. And I wish you and the people of the Federal Capital Territory a very happy New Year.
Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Nyesom Wike. God bless Nigeria.